Why you know what to do but still don't do it. I want to challenge something today. What if the problem isn't that you don't know? What if the problem is that you already do? Because when I look at the biggest decisions in my own life, I've noticed something fascinating. The moments that changed everything weren't the moments I gained more clarity. They were the moments I finally stopped arguing with the clarity I already had. And maybe that's true for you too. Because if you're honest, you probably already know more than you're currently living. You know when a relationship no longer feels aligned. You know when a friendship drains more energy than it gives. You know when you've outgrown a version of yourself. You know when your business no longer reflects who you're becoming. You know when you're betraying your own boundaries. You know when you're playing smaller than your potential, and yet you don't move. Not immediately. Not because you're stupid, not because you're unconscious, not because you're incapable, but because truth is rarely the hardest part. The hardest part is what truth asks of you. Because the moment you truly acknowledge what you know, something changes. Now you have a choice. You either honor that truth or you start negotiating with it. And honestly, most of us have become very sophisticated negotiators. I surely have. We tell ourselves, maybe I need more time. Maybe I need more certainty. Maybe I need another sign. Or maybe I need more information. Maybe I'm just not ready yet. But what if clarity isn't what's missing? What if courage is? Because I've started noticing that many conscious people are not lacking awareness. They're lacking embodiment. They know, but they haven't yet become the person who trusts what they know. And that is a very different journey, because the moment you start trusting yourself, your life changes. Not theoretically, practically. You make different decisions. You have different conversations. You set different boundaries. You stop explaining yourself so much. You stop waiting for permission or outsourcing your authority. And that sounds all beautiful until you're the one who actually has to do it. Because let's be honest, following your truth is, pretty romantic in theory, but it asks you to disappoint someone, until it asks you to let go of an identity you've spent years building, until it asks you to leave behind something that once made you feel safe. That's where embodiment begins. Not when you have the insight, but when you allow the insight to change the way you live. And I think this is where so many people get stuck. Not because they don't know, but because they don't yet trust themselves enough to really act on it. Or because their nervous system still associates truth or change with risk. Because every meaningful transformation asks something of us. Not more knowledge, but a different version of ourselves. A version that is willing to choose alignment over approval, truth over comfort, expansion over familiarity. And I don't say that from a place of having mastered it. I say it because I keep meeting these moments in my own life. Moments where I realize I already know. The question is no longer, what is the right answer? The question is, do I trust myself enough to live it? To not abandon myself anymore? And maybe that's the real work. Not finding your truth, but becoming the person who can embody it. Because I truly believe that transformation is rarely about learning something new. It's about becoming brave enough to live what you've known all along. So let me leave you with a question. What do you already know? not what you hope to be true, not what you think should be true, but what do you already really know? And what would change if you stopped negotiating with that truth? I'd love to hear your comments and reflections in the comments. And if you enjoy these conversations about embodiment, self-trust, soul-led living, conscious evolution, subscribe to the channel. And thank you so much for being here.